Today I will be watching Conan the Barbarian for the first time in a very long time. I am very curious to see what stands out and what held up after so many years. Whatever epic Arnold awesomeness stands out. Okay, I could only get through the intro before the epic awesomeness took over, and I felt the need to bring something up here. You can't get any better than this intro. Black screen, couple drums in the back, slow, and then you get the wizard gravel voice coming in. The days of the oceans drank Atlantis, and you're like, okay, you're hooked on it, boom, and then just absolutely perfection. Let me tell you of high adventure, dun 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 dun, and then like the melted, iron and the steel and the swords being made. You know you're in for a good movie. There's no coming back. It is going to be an epic movie. Done. Wrap it up right now. Best intro ever. Okay. Opening scene of the riders coming in to raid the village. Phenomenal. What makes it so good is the buildup of the contrast of the peaceful village going about their normal chores, doing their daily thing, and then you got the bad guys riding through the snowy woods with the sunlight kind of coming through the trees, and just the build up to it. The music is awesome. Everything about it. Just again, coming off the intro into this, opening scene, the epicness oozes. This thing that kind of really stood out though, other than the epicness, was why is the one dude who appears to be the scout for the bad guys, why is he not wearing a shirt? Now he's clearly been hitting the gym and he's pretty jacked, but everybody else is in like wolf fur from head to toe in the snow. Dude don't even have a shirt on, just jumps up on a rock, huffing and puffing, stands up in total epic fashion, just as with the sun coming down, just as the riders all come through ready to attack the village. Phenomenal scene. Phenomenal. But why is he not wearing a coat? Okay, so the children are taken over to this area, and Conan and his buddies are all kind of pushing a wheel in a circle, and one by one it kind of implies they're not surviving this. Who knew pushing a wheel in a circle all day every day would totally make you jacked and tan? It's like the first ever CrossFit workout. Great workout program apparently, because Arnold is just, he just boom. I imagine, I guess they're just really pushing the protein to him and possibly some supplements. Again, cool scene. I couldn't help but think, how do you get, bis and tris and some abs popping like that? Well done. Okay, so we just got out of the pit fighting scenes. Classic. Another big bag of awesomeness. I think my favorite one out of all of it was when it shows like the silhouette on the wall of him like hacking with a battle axe, and just the brutality that's implied with that. And the fact is that this movie, with as much violence as it has, couldn't actually show that one, so they implied it with the silhouette just hacking away. And then you have this like quick montage of him celebrating in signature style, with his arms up and crossing his arms over, and like one of them, he's like holding something that has like spikes on his hands, and he's just like covered in blood like a wild animal. That it just really showed how he embraced and kind of found his role in life a little bit. But again, total awesomeness. It's just a series of awesomeness. You can't get around that at all. It's totally awesome. Okay, so we skip ahead a little bit from the last time, and we see Arnold now has already kind of been released to the wild. He's left to be on his own now. He running from the wolves. He finds his sword in the cave and everything else, and stumbles upon this witch out in the middle of nowhere, and they decide to do what married people do. I'm not sure why that scene had to be thrown in there, but it did. So thinking back to when I was 4 or 5 years old watching this movie, what they do during these scenes? Just cover your eyes? mean, I'm with it now, but it just all I could think of was kids were watching this, right? Arnold's found his trusty sidekick. And I love the fact that they always, in any type of sword fantasy movie, the sidekick has to be the polar opposite of them. Arnold is the big, strong guy. Here's the small, fast guy. Arnold has the sword and up close, you know, combat, hand-to-hand type thing. He has the bow and arrow and can go from afar. Perfect blend. Perfect pairing up with your sidekick. Again, perfection. Okay, we have the tower scene. We stole the jewel. We kill off this giant snake. I remember this scene so much as a kid. This was one of my favorite scenes from a kid because I'm scared of snakes. Everything about the scene's good. You introduce Arnold's future love life, you know, so we have our third partner here now, and you know, the trio is complete. But I can instantly go back to me as a kid with my plastic Arnold sword that my dad got me for Christmas, and actually chopped up a real snake pretending to be Arnold. And I remember going and telling my dad, hey, I killed a snake. And he was like, oh, that's cute. Yeah, okay. And I was like, you want to see it? And he was like, what? And I actually did. So I murdered a snake as a young child because of this scene. Arnold would be proud. He would. The bigger point to be made here is I can remember kind of reenacting these scenes as a child. Just pretend and playing in the imagination. And it just shows you the inspiration that this movie could really give you, because it was that good of action sequences and again, just epicness. Okay, so we have our romantic scene with Arnold and his future mother of his children. So this one made sense, and it was an 80s movie. You had to have a love life scene at some point in there. No problem with this one. Okay, so they have made all their money, right? They're very successful thieves. They've done all the stuff they can do. They're having their parties. And in the famous scene where Arnold's sitting there stirring the soup, just looking in a stupor. It's kind of first time you get to see Arnold's comedy come out. You know, you can tell he actually, who knew? He's a funny guy and he's a funny actor. And then he, you know, plops his head into it, whatever. And so it's just, the humor there wasn't a punchline or anything like that. It was just the look on his face and the way he did it. That was probably one of our first times of seeing Arnold have a, you know, you could see Kindergarten Cop coming down the road. You could see Twins coming down the road. So that just made me laugh. Now Arnold has to go for revenge, right? He's got everything. Well, he's got a love life. He's got his best buddy. They've got money. They've got everything they need. And Arnold has to go out on his own to hunt down the snake people and get his revenge. Of course he did. It wouldn't be an epic tale without some form of solo mission, personal, gotta finish it type of thing going on. So after Arnold gets caught, they're roughing him up. James Earl Jones gives a great speech in his James Earl Jones voice with the riddle of steel, you know, and all that good things going on. The interesting thing, that I think just the smallest little thing, was James Earl Jones didn't even remember the villages being raided. Right? That was such a big deal. That's like Arnold's whole life-altering event in his entire mission on life. And James Earl Jones was like, must have been in my younger day. You know, it's just like he had no clue about it. That's just the coldness of the ultimate bad guy. Well done. As a child watching this, the scene where Arnold's kind of like dying or half dead or mostly dead, and they have him up on the hillside and they have to go and fight off the evil spirits who are coming to take him, and they win against it. One, phenomenal CGI. I mean, just excellent. Two, I never quite got that scene. I really didn't. It just seemed kind of weird. And I understand the type of movie we're watching, and I understand that Conan the Barbarian, the books, the comics, or whichever, had a lot of more weirdness than what the movie brought out. So maybe it was a hat tip to the books a little bit. Maybe there's something in there I need to go and read. I don't know. That scene just seemed weird. I mean, it seemed unnecessary. And they definitely did not have the CGI to pull it off. Classic Arnold scene when he's kind of recovered, but you could tell, like, testing his hand, looking at the holes from the crucifixion, and just kind of processing how he almost was killed, how he almost lost his ultimate personal battle of revenge. You know, they had to fight off the little ghost people. And then as he's testing his hand and looking at it, brings out the sword and does a super cool bodybuilding choreographed, you know, muscular poses as he's doing his sword play. If whoever played Conan wasn't Arnold, this scene don't work at all. You've got to be built like Arnold to do this scene. But I guarantee you, a lot of us went through that choreography while we were of a certain age, thinking we looked like that. Okay, so now we're on our way to go rescue the princess and make all this money. But the thing is, Arnold is in full revenge mode. Okay, it was bad enough they slaughtered his village and killed his parents and turned him into a slave, and one by one all of his friends. But now James Earl Jones tried to crucify him. Big mistake. You just know trouble is coming for the bad guys at this point. They're at the campfire. They're putting in all their body camo paint, which is really well designed for people just making it up in the front of a campfire using their fingers. They're going over their game plan, and they all agree this will work. Good thieves can do this, but not vengeful ones. And they all look at Conan. Conan's not even paying attention to anything they just said. He's just over there, you know, sharpening the sword with this, you know, smudge scowl, you know, on his face. And then they're like, Conan, you know, stick to the plan, right? And he just goes right back to it. Perfect. Didn't have to say a word. We know why Conan is going along with this plan. Nothing to do with the princess. Okay, so they're creeping around and they're making their way, and there's this adult party going on with the bad guys, with not all wearing clothes, doing adult things. And then you see this like human soup being made, which is an interesting concept because I'm not sure cannibalism was ever mentioned throughout the movie. I mean, there were weird religious snake cult stuff going on, but the body parts in the soup was an interesting thing. You ever been to a potluck or go to somebody's house and they made up this food and you're not quite sure what's in there? I'm pretty sure I've been to some people's dinners and buffets that may have had this soup. It's debatable. One thing that's so cool about this scene was the way the music was kind of very, it's kind of like calm and kind of like a festive going on type of thing. But they're sneaking around, getting ready to attack. And again, that contrast of violence is about to happen while calmness is happening. We go all the way back to the raiding of the village. You know, you had that, it was a little bit more drastic and dramatic of a contrast, but phenomenal job of being able to kind of like, okay, now we're going to give it back to the bad guys. And just the creeping around and getting in position. And then once they finally kind of sneak up and start to hack up the bad guys, the music kicks in again. And it's just, man, this movie don't work without the music. It doesn't. It does not work without the music. Another neat thing about this scene was the buddies. They get theirs a little bit more. Yeah, Arnold's doing his thing, working his way through to get to the bad guys, but you know, his best buddy and his girl now are just like, they're getting to show their stuff a little bit, and they're kind of working their way through and showing off their skills a little. It's always neat to kind of, it enhances the characters. Now the group just feels more. You're getting to see them at their peak right now, and it was just really neat to see it come out all in that one moment. Another cool thing was when Arnold kind of has to go up against the two right-hand man of James Earl Jones, right? So these guys were there at the village, and so this is our first kind of, let's see what happens, of Arnold versus the main bad guys, who's not the main bad guy, but the next two main bad guys. And it was kind of a tie. It was kind of a back and forth, 2-on-1, but Arnold held his own. You know, it was close both ways, and then so you can kind of tell we're building. Nothing came from this, but we can kind of see where Arnold's maybe leveled it out a little bit. Okay, so they rescued the princess. They're getting away. They're escaping, and the plan worked. And then James Earl Jones acts bad in his calm type of way. He turns a snake into a bow and arrow and shoots like a 2-mile long shot off the mountain right into Arnold's love life. Obviously, if you couldn't have made the hero mad enough at this point, you killed off his village, you killed off his parents in front of him, you enslaved him and his buddies as a kid, you've used him every which way, you crucified him and left him to die, and now you kill off the girl. It's like James Earl Jones wanted to die. Yeah. Okay, so she dies, and I guess too far. I guess they couldn't use the fight off the ghost thing again. I guess, you know, it wasn't gonna work. Didn't even really try it. Again, the whole fight off the ghost when Arnold was about to die versus this one, am I missing something? People who read the books, I don't know why, but the scene, they're getting ready for the big battle. Right before they get ready for the big battle, Conan is this scene like pondering, you know, just, okay, his love life is gone, and the bratty princess chained to a rock, which her arms are going to get really tired. But she's like, you know, James Earl Jones is going to come for me. He's going to come get me, you know, and whatever religious cult following she's got going on with this. And that, like, made Arnold realize, yeah, that was probably going to happen. It's like he didn't think of that until she said it. Or, hey, no more mourning. It's time to get going. I'm not quite sure which way, but that definitely, cue the music, cue the preparation for battle. Epic prep happening. Bad stuff is going to happen to bad guys. Let's go. Obviously, the final battle scene is really, really epic, but leading into it, one of the cool scenes about it was where Arnold is praying to Crom, and he goes through a pretty good speech, and you know, it's cutting back and forth between the bad guys coming, Arnold prepped and ready, but praying. Bad guys are charging on their horse, Arnold's prepped and ready. The contrast thing again, it just keeps showing up. The build up to it, but also that back and forth, the calm side, and then here comes the bad guy, or here comes the violence is coming side. It's just, man, great job. The final battle scene is just awesome. I mean, it really is just a great way to not end the movie, but really the crescendo that we've been building up to. You know, and Arnold there with a battle axe, it's chopping, just going. I mean, and the way they filmed it, almost like on the ground. Sometimes it felt like you were in the middle of it. It was just phenomenal. One of the bad guys takes the spring trap spear right to the chest. I don't know if I've seen a trap like in a movie work to perfection like that. He had to be standing just in that spot. He had to turn into it just as it's coming around. Maybe a little convenient, but really a really cool way to kill off one of the bad guys. So Arnold's going back and forth with the other main bad guy. It's good. It's epic. It's battling. Maybe the other bad guy's slightly getting the better of him. I mean, he's very tall. And then Arnold's in trouble, and then the ghost or the spirit of Arnold's ex, now dead girlfriend, stops the sword, blinds him for a second. Do you want to live forever? Again, was that from the book? I haven't read the books. That was just kind of put in there. But the way Arnold stands up with the sword and the serious look on, is like, oh, okay, all right. I mean, that's pretty well Adrian telling Rocky to go win. I mean, it's over. It's nothing tall dude can do about it at this point. Okay, the killing off the tall guy was good, but I think, you know, the dramatic slow motion, and a hack and a blood splurt, and a hack and a blood. My favorite one though was the final one, the slide, and we see behind the guy as he falls, you know, falls back, and then like you see Conan like up from the ground perspective, and you see the splash of blood between the camera and Conan. We just had some extra blood packs that we wanted to use, but again, epic way to kill off a very tall bad guy who had it coming the entire movie. You don't steal the sword. The fact that Arnold broke his father's sword, great symbolism. Good job. Okay, so the movie isn't quite over yet. Arnold has to go and find James Earl Jones and take care of one last little problem. Sneaks into the religious cult people up on the candlelight ceremony thing they got going on. And James Earl Jones tries to do the talk and tries to mesmerize him. And Arnold starts to fall for it. He looks a little confused. He looks like he's kind of, and then just wakes up. And as soon as his eyes, you know, as soon as you realize, it's like, James Earl Jones is in big trouble right here. So that wraps up the movie. It's even more epic than I remembered it. As a kid, I loved it. But honestly, watching it now, I appreciate so much more. From the storytelling side of it and the movie making side of it, some of the visuals they learn, some of the contrasting, using the sunlight coming through the trees with the snow, just I really appreciated it more than I thought I was going to. I thought some cool action and some ridiculous bad acting or something, but honestly, no. It really, I mean, certain characters and certain dialogue was a little rough, but I mean, it's like 1982. But the fact is, from an epic standpoint and a big bag of awesomeness, it is hard to beat this. The music is even better than I thought it was. The score here is just phenomenal. I don't know if it works without it. I think you have to have Arnold and you have to have that music. If either one of those things were changed, I don't think this movie works at all. All right, so what do you think? Comment below, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time.